Front Seat Life podcast happily presents my Year of Healing the Hustle podcast, where I, Jessica Butts, psychotherapist, 2.5-time author, corporate trainer, and Myers-Briggs expert, share my raw, vulnerable, honest, and in the moment experiences of my journey to heal the hustle. I recently put my money where my mouth was, and I sold everything I owned and moved to Maui with 5 suitcases to explore this healing island. What has come up is a mountain of real life healing the hustle experiences I hope you can see yourself in, so you can also heal your hustle while still being unapologetically who you are. Let's get started. Welcome back, everybody, to the Front Seat Life podcast. This is Jessica Butts, your host, and today is a very special day. It is my 100th episode. 100 episodes. It's kind of amazing. One of my very, very best friends, Sarah Dean, she has like almost 700 episodes. That is mind-blowing because I feel like 100 episodes is a huge, huge accomplishment. I've paused, I've taken some time off, I've come back with Healing the Hustle, but today I get to celebrate. I believe in celebrations. I believe in celebrating all of our life wins, our business wins, and so I am celebrating today with one of my new favorite topics, and I am calling this episode Dial It Up. Dial It Up. And so I'm actually coming off of, as you know, I'm recording these on Tuesdays and they're going live on Thursdays. And so it is all these real time experiences, as I promised during this Healing the Hustle series. And earlier today, I did a corporate training gig over in the beautiful, beautiful wine country over in Woodinville, Washington. And it was a company that I had done a training for years and years ago. And they have, as so many companies do, have a bunch of new employees. They're coming back from COVID. They needed to do a team building exercise or a team building day. And they started the day with me. I was so honored. That from 8:30 until 10:30, it was just a quick 2 hours. We did some team building and it was so juicy and so delicious and people were crying and talking, and it really helped solidify what I already knew I was going to talk to you about today, which is dialing up our personality type. I couldn't have my 100th episode not be about personality type because you guys know this is my original love. In fact, this is a little side note. I have been waiting many years, like a multi-year process. So I put in for my trademark for Front Seat Life. There's this other woman who's trying to like sneak in and do this, her Front Seat Life. And I'm like, no, bitch, no. And so she's been kind of like coming in. And so I started this process like 3 years ago, and then it got all backed up with COVID and everything. And just yesterday, I actually got my approved trademark of Front Seat Life, which feels absolutely amazing that I like own a trademark for this company that I've worked my ass off for the last 11 years. And I couldn't be more proud. So I'm actually celebrating 2 major wins this week. I'm celebrating 100th episode of the Front Seat Life podcast, and celebrating, like, it's a journey to get a trademark. I don't know if you've ever done it, but it is not easy. You got to give all kinds of like supporting evidence. And so to now own that trademark just feels really amazing. And so of course, my 100th episode is going to be about personality type. So today's episode is dialing it up, not dialing it down, being more of who we are, not suppressing it or oppressing it or being vanilla in any way, shape, or form, or dialing it down, but let's dial it up. And so while I was doing this awesome corporate retreat this morning, there's always a couple. I mean, everybody there was amazing today, but there was one gentleman in particular. It feels like there's like a young man that's a NF. And so his functional pairs, his Myers-Briggs functional pairs, which are the two middle letters, were an NF, which is extremely rare for anyone, but especially a man. And, he had some tears in his eyes multiple times and had basically a holy shit, oh my God, validating look on his face the entire time, and super introverted, but had lots to say and lots of questions and insights. And I just thought, like, this is why I do this work. This is why I'm so passionate about this. Is why I've done 100 episodes of this. This is why I travel around the country. It's why I've been in Seattle for an entire month, is because I knew that I had this corporate training to do. And it's everything to me to watch somebody like him have that aha and realize I need to dial up who I am, not suppress it anymore. So whether you're a young person like him, I mean, I could have been his mom, I'm pretty sure. I think he was probably 24 years old, or you're 49 or you're 69. This is about being unapologetically who we are. And that always comes with a caveat to me, meaning being unapologetically who you are in your personality type without being a dick, right? So this is like, you don't get to go around and just be like, wow, I'm a total train wreck. I'm an asshole. I'm a total bitch. I don't care about other people. That's not my point. The point is being our very best version of ourselves. I've said this for years, like, personal development is not for the faint of heart. I mean, can I get an amen? I mean, all my friends and I talk about this all the time. We're like, when are the lessons going to stop? When are the lessons going to stop? I'm staying at McMinimans in Bothell right now, and I had a dear friend come on Sunday, and we were sitting outside in the beautiful weather, and we both were just cracking up about this. Like, did we just sign up for all of this? Like, we're exhausted. We're exhausted. When does it stop? My friends, I don't think it ever stops. I don't think it ever stops. We have signed up for this personal development. We have signed up for dialing it up, learning more, being the best versions of ourselves. So while I'm talking about being unapologetically who you are, that means also the best version of yourself. The second point in this is, I really believe wholeheartedly, in fact, I said this last week on a very emotional episode last week, is the truth will set you free. The truth will set you free. I was in Al-Anon for many, many years, as my husband was in AA. And I, of course, went to Al-Anon for a number of years to manage that relationship, and myself for that matter. And one of their sayings is, the truth will set you free. Being honest about your addictions, being honest about your personality type, being honest about the layers of who you are, your traumas, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. I actually just ended a kind of a relationship in my life because they just didn't want the bad. They only wanted the good. Like, they only wanted me when I was happy and fun and playful. And I was like, fuck that. Like, fuck that. You only are taking like half of me. That is absolutely part of who I am. And it's literally half. If you don't want the other juicy, amazing, messy, vulnerable parts, go fuck yourself. Like, there's just, again, this is about dialing it up, not suppressing, not pretending. The truth will set us free. That here are our triggers, here are our traumas, here is our anxious attachment, here's what my mom did to me. This is why I'm messed up. This is why I show up in this way. This is why I'm scared. This is why I'm fearful. This is why I'm vulnerable. This is why I cry. This is whatever the thing. This is why I'm defensive. This is why I'm mean sometimes. If somebody doesn't want to get to know that part of you, it's time to move on. It's time to move on. And then the last part about this is the dialing it up specifically of our functional pairs. So if we're talking about Myers-Briggs, there are 4 dichotomies. Let's do them from top to bottom visually, so this will be a little bit easier. Introversion and extroversion at the top, and then the 2 middle are functional pairs, which is sensing and intuition, thinking and feeling, and then the bottom is the judging and perceiving. The bottom, judging and perceiving, has no place in our car, meaning we always have to balance that. We've got to balance our J, bossy, controlling energy with our P, go with the flow, undaunted by surprise, not being so controlling energy. Again, this is why I have the word be tattooed on my arm, is to remind myself on a daily basis, literally multiple times a day, to just be. Stop doing all the time and just be. And B'ers have to remember that they also have to do. Like, I've got a couple of new clients right now that, we spent an hour going over calendars and learning how to put a calendar together and how to plan things. And, we're all different people, right? I need to learn how to chill and they need to learn how to do. And so that is the one that we need to balance. Introversion and extroversion certainly has a place in all of this. But what I really, really want to dial up, I'm not telling you to be more introverted and I'm not telling you to be more extroverted, because those are balanced in our front seat. There are 2 people in the front seat, our driver and our co-pilot. That makes up 80% of where we should be spending our time, energy, resources. Those 2 those 2 passengers in the car, your driver and your co-pilot, are split 50-50. So if you're an extrovert, don't be more extroverted. If you're an introvert, don't be more introverted. Just remember that that also needs to be balanced, just like the J and the P. So that then leaves what we're dialing up. So if you are, let's say, an intuitive, which the majority of my clients are, my listeners are, you're the woo, you are the weirdo, you are the think outside the box, you are always planning for the future, you are the creative wizard of the, not the muggle world, but you're the wizards of the world. This is the part of you that I want you to dial up. I want you to be more wizardry. I want you to be more woo, more creative, more think outside the box. Dial that shit up. Dial that shit up. This is how God made you. This is how you came out of your mama. I want you to be more of that. Absolutely more of that. As my very first teacher, Fabienne Fredrickson, girl, I love you so much. She talked about sharing your brownies. And this is a version of sharing your brownies. If you are out in the world and you are attracting clients, let's just say, or you're dating, or you're being an awesome mom or an awesome entrepreneur, whatever it is, stop trying to balance this. Don't try, again, my second book, don't do stuff you suck at. Don't try to be less of this to get along with other people. Fuck that. Be more of who you are. If people don't like you, move on. We are done being well-rounded. Can I get an amen to that? We are done being well-rounded. You can hire people for that. This is about dialing it up, being more woo, being more weird, saying, I suck at S stuff. I suck at details. I suck at data. I suck at spreadsheets and all of that. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it anymore. And then the other one is the thinking and feeling. If you are a feeler and you are trying to suppress that, there was another incredible gentleman this morning. incredible gentleman this morning that was sharing about how, and I hear this a lot, he's a feeling man. And his whole life, I would guess he was in his late 50s. His whole life, he had been suppressing this feeler in him because society told him to do that, as society does. And business tells him to do that. And then he had 2 daughters. And he is so leaning in to this love and this kindness and this sweetness. And he had a wonderful interaction with somebody else there who was a strong, strong, strong thinker. And just realizing that is one of his, I don't love this saying, but it's one of your superpowers. I don't know how else there needs to be another saying for that. I don't love it. It's way overused, but it really is your superpower, especially for the weirdos of the world. So you wizards. So the wizards are the intuitives for sure, because we're only 25% of the population. The world needs our woo. We're only 25%. And so when I get a hold of intuitives, oftentimes they've been oppressed. They've been suppressed. They've been told there is no value in your woo. You should go be an accountant. This is not safe. You shouldn't be an entrepreneur. There's no money in acting. There's no money in, fuck that. Make your own way. Dial it up. Figure out a business plan, but also dial it up. Dial it up. Find a coach. Find somebody who can help you do those things. But when you suppress it, you are literally doing the world a disservice. You are doing the world a disservice by dialing that down. Feeling men, you're doing the world a disservice by dialing that beautiful, marginalized, small section of the population that you are. The world needs you. Thinking women, the world needs you guys. Don't try to conform. Don't try to be like everybody else. Again, we are not meant to be well-rounded. We are meant to be more of how God designed us. We are meant to be more of who we are. So now let's talk about what's keeping us from doing that. What is keeping us from dialing it up? What is suppressing it? So the number one thing I believe wholeheartedly is our family of origin, for sure. This is why I love being a therapist. As you know from last week's episode, I am unpacking a whole bunch of my lifelong trauma with my mom and looking at how people pleasing, how suppressing it for loyalty in your family, or doing what society or your culture of origin, your family of origins, your society tells you air quotes should be. That is a real thing. That is a real thing. And that leads into people pleasing and suppressing who we really are. When people won't accept us, we suppress ourselves. When people won't see us, they won't hizzle us, they won't hear us, they won't see us, and they won't love us, we end up oppressing ourselves or suppressing ourselves. Again, I was doing it with that, whatever that was, friendship, relationship, situationship, whatever it was, that you don't want to hizzle me. You don't want to hear me for what's going on with me. You don't want to see me for all of my ugly bits. And then you're not going to love me for it. Well, then move the fuck on, because somebody else will. And I will not be part of suppressing myself, oppressing myself for somebody that may not even matter, or for somebody who really, really, really does matter, like my mom. But that is doing the world a disservice if we are not showing up in that way. Another way that is keeping you from dialing it up is the fear of losing something or someone. Can I get an amen for that? Oh my God. This has been my theme this week with clients. It's only Tuesday, and I've already had a whole bunch of clients yesterday and threw a couple in here today because I'm flying back to Maui on Thursday. But the fear of losing someone. I've got clients that are fearful of losing the relationship that they are in, or fear of losing the job that they are in. So they are dialing down who they are. They're dialing down their desires and their wants and their woo-ness and their feelings and their awesomeness. Their straight up awesomeness because of fear. And when we are able to step into, for example, this specific person, stepping into her like most unbelievable feminine energy, it was so beautiful to watch her and not make excuses, not be fearful of losing anything, but truly stepping into her truth, as I did this past week as well. I stepped into my truth that this is not serving me. I had to be not afraid of losing this thing. And I was dialing down who I was out of fear of losing whatever, as was my client, as I see so many times in a job or a relationship, of dialing ourselves down, suppressing ourselves, oppressing our voice, oppressing our needs, dialing down our type instead of dialing it up for those that are going to benefit. I've said this many times before, but when I go and speak on large stages, or even, for example, today, there was only, I don't know, probably, I'm bad with visuals like that, probably 25 people, but I've also spoken in front of 1,000 people. And when I get feedback, for example, in like 1,000 person, there's about 95% of the people that quite honestly love me. I mean, I'll just toot my own horn. No one kind of likes me. They either love me or they hate my guts. And that's the 5%. Those 5%, it's unbelievable, the feedback. They hate me. They just hate everything about me. They can't say enough mean things. And am I going to show up and cater to those 5% and do the other 95% a disservice? I hope that just landed really hard on you. The 5% of the people, even if it's your mom, even if it's your current partner, your spouse, your husband, your best friend, whoever, your boss, whoever it is, that person is likely a 5% person in your life. And they may just not want it. They can't deal with it. They don't love it. They don't like you, whatever the thing is. I'm asking you to show up for the 95% that think you're fucking amazing, who think you are the bee's knees, the cat's pajamas, the best thing ever. But we as humans take on the worst. It's just a thing. Think about any time you've ever gotten feedback. I'm sure you have in your life. Like, you just focus on those 5 comments. I can get 100 amazing comments, and there's like 2 or 3 that devastate me. I have definitely learned to move on from this because of this. Because I know that I am showing up and doing my best. When there's a few people that hate my guts, I'm like, okay, great. I did my job. And the other 95% love me, and they're going to do the same for you. But that is not our normal inclination until we learn about type. And until we get to a place of not people pleasing and not being fearful of getting those feedbacks, not being fear of losing people because they don't want us for our full selves. The last way that we keep ourselves from dialing it up is comparison. Oh, friends, it's so painful. It's so painful to compare yourself to somebody who's not even you. right? They don't have your story. They don't have your education. They don't have your experience. They don't have your voice. They don't have your sass. They don't have your personality type. We go about comparing ourselves to people that aren't even our same type. It's so idiotic. There's our job. I don't know who to give this quote to, right? I don't have it in front of me, but it's coming to me in this moment of our greatest thing. I'm butchering this too. Our greatest gift or our greatest path on this life is to become more of who we are. That is what I'm signing up for. That's what I'm spending my 100th episode talking to you about, is dialing this shit up, my friends. Showing up and not being afraid of the haters, not being afraid of the one person who thinks you're not worthy. Fuck them. I'll be honest, it probably has less to do with you. In fact, it has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. It's probably one of the greatest tools I learned in graduate school is to catch a insult or a compliment with a catcher's mitt before we let it hit our heart, right? If you think about a ball smacking us in the face or landing on our heart, our job first is to catch it in a catcher's mitt. Again, a compliment as well. I mean, I get, wonderful, amazing compliments. And oftentimes they don't have anything to do with me either. It has to do with the other person. So our job is to look in the mitt, look at this insult, look at this compliment, look at this shitty whatever, and go, do I own this? Is this actually mine? And if it is, you apologize, which I did. I'm a big apologizer. I know my shit. I know when I fucked up. I know when I need to apologize. I know when to own my stuff. And I absolutely know when it's not mine as well. That is not my shit. And the majority of the time, I'm going to say a lot. As long as you're, to go with Don Miguel Ruiz, as long as you're doing your best, right? We are striving to do our best. Apologize when you need to apologize. Don't be a dick. Dial it up. Be your best version of yourself. If you are doing that, 90, possibly more, 90 to 95% of the time, that shit has nothing to do with you, even the compliment. So get over yourself. Stop comparing yourself. Stop suppressing yourself. Stop doing all of that and dial it up so the 95% can love you and that you can make an impact on those people. Okay. My last point of this, actually, let me say one other thing. For those of you who like multiple visions or visionary tools, as I like to, the same is true. This dialing it up is the vortex energy by Abraham Hicks, and the Zone of Genius by Gay Hendricks. I'm not going to go into those right now because I've probably done them in other episodes. But the Zone of Genius is basically you dialing your shit all the way up. We are not meant to live in our zone of competence. That's just vanilla. That's straddling our functional pairs. That's I'm going to just kind of try to be an S and be really good at details and data. No, stop doing that. You can't be in your zone of competence and your zone of genius at the same time. Period. End of story. We're not meant to live in our zone of competence. That is some boring ass shit. That's when people say, I'm fine. I'm like, I'd rather you be miserable than fine because at least you're learning something. Fine is for, I don't have any interest. I don't want to be fine. I never want to be fine. And I never want to live in competence. How boring is competence? I want you to be learning. I want you to be in your zone of genius. I want you to dial this shit up. I'm going to leave you with a solution. I just brought this up with a client that I've worked with for years and years and years, and I kind of forgot about it. I used it a lot when I first started my practice, and I had graduated from graduate school, and there was a lot of naysayers. There was a lot of naysayers. You can't have a successful practice if you don't first work at an agency for like $12 an hour. I'm like, how am I ever going to pay off my student loan? And these are not my ideal clients. This isn't what I want to do. Blah, 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 blah. All the naysayers in the world. You can't do this. You can't be successful. You can't write a book. You can't go back to graduate school at 38. You can't do this. You can't do that, whatever. The solution to all of that stuff is a good, healthy dose of fuck you energy. Can I get an amen? A good, healthy dose of fuck you energy. It's not about being mean. It's not about actually saying that to somebody, because I feel like that's aggressive and yucky energy. This is inside of us. This is an internal thing of, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to prove you wrong. I can do this. I'm going to dial it up. I'm not going to suppress myself. I'm not going to oppress myself. I'm not going to hide. I am not going to stay in my zone of competence because it makes you uncomfortable. I'm not going to cater to the 5% that hate my guts. I believe in a good, healthy dose of fuck you energy. And that to me is the solution to dialing it up, my friends, is thinking about, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to live my life full on. I'm going to be more vocal. I'm going to be more amazing. I'm going to be more woo. I'm going to be more feeling. I'm going to cry on my podcast. I'm going to say what I need to say. I'm going to move to Maui if I want to move to Maui. I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to, whatever your thing is, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to open a yoga studio. I'm going to move to the middle of the country and never get on Facebook again. I'm going to hide from the world. I'm going to have some fuck you energy. And letting yourself embrace that. To own your power. To dial up who you are. To dial up your magnificence. To dial up your personality type. No more suppression. No more oppression. No more dialing it down. No more people pleasing, no more comparison, no more fear, no more catering to those 5%. My greatest hope is that people set themselves free. They tell the truth. They be unapologetically who they are, that you become the best version of yourself by having a good, healthy dose of fuck you energy by dialing it up. Right? Not running away, not letting the pain of losing whatever I'm losing, a relationship and another relationship and whatever. I could hide and run away. And sometimes we need to do that. As you guys know, I did that. And that's okay too, but not forever. To come back with good love and knowing that the 95% wants you. The 95% need you. So dial it up. Dial it up, my friends. All right. That's my 100th episode. Thank you for everybody. Thank you for those that have been listening for 100 episodes. God, you must be sick of me, but man, I appreciate it so much. I have one spot left for the Maui retreat. I actually have 11, and I realized I need 12 because we need to have equal amounts for when we break up into different groups. So I am taking one more. I have a full practice at the moment, but I'm always open to putting people on a wait list. So let me know if that's something you're interested in. I'm also so incredibly grateful for iTunes reviews. They mean the world to me. So Thank you. Front Seat Life is now trademarked. I've got a 100th episode under my belt, and I so appreciate you. None of it would be happening if you guys weren't listening. So I'm so appreciative, and I'll see you next week.